Let's touch on this new algorithm. Make a function that looks through an array of objects, first argument, so this one, an array of objects. We've got one, two, and three objects inside this array, and returns an array of all objects that have matching name and value pairs, second argument. So this one. Each name and value pair of the source object has to be present in the object from the collection if it is to be included in the return array. So basically, what the algorithm is asking, check out whether any of these objects has got all the keys from the second argument as well as the value is matching with that key. Okay. First of all, we need to provide, of course, the arguments in this function. We have been told the first argument is a collection, so we may call it collection. And we have been told the second argument is a source, so let's call it source. How may you construct a solution for this algorithm? I was thinking of creating a variable initialized as empty array. So let's call it const r empty array, semicolon. And we don't know the length of this collection. So it may be 3, it may be 50. So the algorithm, the program, the function has to come up with the length automatically. So for this scenario, a while loop is the best. So let's initialize a variable that we will use as a counter, as an incrementer for the while loop. Let I initialized as 0. And I was also reckoning to amend, to modify the length of the original collection. But I don't want to touch the original one. So let's copy the original collection so we won't touch it. It's a best practice for functional programming. Const copy collection. So this variable will contain all this information because we have registered this variable with all the data from collection. Now let's construct our while loop. A while loop has to be true to be able to sound out, to be executed. And at some point, it has to become false. Otherwise, we will encounter an infinite loop. An infinite loop. I told I created this variable as a counter. So we may type down I less than collection.length. And in every cycle, we will increment the I. So the length of the collection, what's the length of the collection? It's 3. 1, 2, and 3. I show you. 3. Okay. So basically, the loop will be executed 3 times. The first cycle when I is 0 until the I will be 2, because 3 is not less than 3. So the loop will stop. Okay, let's construct it. While I less than collection.length. As you can see, I show you what is occurring. I need to increment the I, otherwise it will last forever. Three times. Okay. Now, I want to modify the collection, but I don't want to touch it directly. That's why I have taken advantage of this variable. Because I want to extract in every cycle the first piece of data. Because I want to use it for my condition. One at a time. And to do that, let's create variable const. It will save an object, so let's call it obj. There's a JavaScript method to extract the first piece of data from the first position. So copy our variable dot shift. In fact, if I console log obj, what do you think, what do you reckon it will contain? It will contain in the first cycle this one, second cycle, and third cycle. As you can see. Okay? Now, why did I do that? Now that we have got one object at a time, we now can check out if this object contains all the keys from the source, as well as the value matches with that key. And we can achieve that by using a condition. So if now there's a good method to come up with all the keys from a specific object. It's called object keys. I show you before initialized a condition. Object keys of source, the second argument. And this console log will show up apple and cookie inside an array. Apple cookie, apple cookie, apple cookie, cookie. 3 times because of while. So now what we can do, we can take advantage of another built-in JavaScript method, every. Every will return true if all the elements will match our condition. So we can append upon this object, sorry, upon, yeah, it's an object, an array. Upon this array, the every method. That takes an argument, element, arrow function, and now what we can type down is element, in this case apple, is present in the first object, and we use in. To convey this object, do you remember we saved in this const? So we just need to type down obj, and automatically element, every method will check out whether element is inside object. And then another kind of condition to append. Element in object is the first condition that have matching name. And the second condition to check out is the value. So and, because both condition has to be true simultaneously with AND operator. And now we've got all the information we need. Source of element. This is the syntax to access a piece of information inside an object with this kind of bracket, square bracket. Source of element is equal or what? We've got object, so the same, obj of element. If this condition turns out to be true, then we return that object. So we can take advantage of this empty array we initialized to insert, push, save this object that passed our condition and save it inside this const. So this condition is true. I can't. This condition is true, then push this object inside R. R push obj. And now it should work. So if I console log this R outside the while loop, it is functioning. Let's look at it. This object contains all the keys from the source. Not. No. Apple, yes, but not cookie. The same for the second object, just apple. The third one, apple, cookie, and then the second part of the condition. Source of L is equals to object of element. Um, apple is 1, apple is 1. Cookie is 2, cookie is 2. So we return this object. And to finish up, we can just refactor this way. And I hope my explanation was enough clear.